A $100,000 grant from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment has boosted one Durango company's mission to divert as much food waste as possible from area landfills. You're watching the Local News Network, brought to you by Serious Texas Barbecue. I'm Wendy Graham-Settle. Table to Farm Compost has ramped up its production of artisan soil made with local food scraps with the help of a $100,000 grant from the CDPHE's Recycling Resources Economic Opportunity Program. The state program supports creation of new products that uses waste materials that otherwise would wind up in landfills. Table to Farm Composting Service, founded in 2016 by David Golden and Emily Bowie, and later purchased by MONIQUE DIGIORGIO and Taylor Hanson, offers curbside collection of food scraps for a monthly fee. The company also recycles glass, and it uses the materials to make compost that it processes into soil for farms and gardens. Since assuming ownership, DiGiorgio and Hanson have significantly expanded their food waste recycling program to include restaurants, Twin Buttes Farm, and Albertsons grocery store. The grant allowed them to purchase the equipment they needed to ramp up production of their artisan soil and to hire 6 full and part-time employees.
Monique and I's goal is really to divert as much waste as possible on the one hand, and I think another big pillar for us is community education. So it's like, what is the education, what's the value behind compost, both environmentally and economically.
With that funding, we were able to purchase a mixer. It's interesting because it's actually like a cattle grain mixer, but we use it to mix our artisan soil. We also received and purchased a bagger, which allows us to measure and weigh out the product and bag it, so it makes it much more efficient than bagging by hand. We purchased a glass crusher, which allowed us to take glass that we pick up from our customers, and we actually crush that and put it in the final product. It creates a really great opportunity for drainage and silica instead of having to use something like perlite. We also used some funds to upgrade a grinder for wood chips, and what you see behind us is our hopper and our trommel. That allows us to sift the compost and get a really fine product.
Although business collections declined last spring while the stay-at-home orders from the pandemic were in place, Table to Farm saw a boost in curbside residential collections and increased demand for its soil.
One of the unanticipated consequences of COVID was that people are starting to understand the value of growing their own food, which is so cool. And so we entered the marketplace this year with people getting really excited about having their own garden, growing their own food. And so locally made compost and artisan soil is a great way to get your garden really healthy and up and running. So we were really pleased to see a bit of an uptick in sales because there's just more of a consciousness around gardening with the COVID.
Table to Farm artisan soil starts as a mixture of food waste, sawdust from the Durango Wood Company, and biochar from wildfire mitigation in the San Juan Mountains. The mixture takes about a year to break down into usable compost, which is then tested by a local lab for its nutrient composition.
Once we have a good baseline reading of the nutrients, we can see what nutrients to add. And then the other parts of the soil are peat moss, and that's kind of for moisture retention. And then the other part is the glass, which helps with drainage and helps the soil kind of move. But really the main ingredient is the compost, and our compost is quite balanced. But what we have added is kelp meal from the ocean, and that's kind of like a multivitamin for your soil, as well as chicken manure, which gives it a really nice nutritional kick. The coolest thing about the soil is it's almost entirely from local ingredients, and it's going to be just as good as any of the fancy commercial soils you get at the nursery, if not better.
Table to Farm artisan soil is available for sale online, but will soon be available in area nurseries. If you'd like to know more about Table to Farm compost, its curbside pickup service, or to order artisan soil, visit tabletofarmcompost.com. Thanks for watching this edition of the Local News Network. I'm Wendy Graham-Settle.